Okay, we'll keep going with our media availabilities here in the Media Center. We're joined by Dale Earnhardt Jr., driver of the number 88 AMP National Guard Chevrolet. Dale, why don't you just open us up with your thoughts about racing here at Richmond?
It's a great track, and it's a little bit bigger than most short tracks we race on, but the racing's always fun here. It's a great market, and the shape of the track's quite unique, which makes it pretty interesting. And she's getting a little slick out there, but last couple trips here, it's become more slick, but it's still a fun racetrack, and look forward to the weekend. Looking forward to getting in the car and seeing what we got.
Okay, we'll now go to the media for questions. We're going to start up here with Monty, and then we'll work our way back to Reed, Lee, Jay, and Claire.
Monty Dutton, Gaston Gazette. Dale, you, in looking at your season, and you haven't finished worse than 12th since Daytona 500, you seem to be less impressed than everybody else. I mean, you sort of, your attitude has sort of been hold your horses, we've got improvement to do. Do you think that's because you're a perfectionist and you're always looking for the edge over everybody else? Or do you think it's just a realistic thing and everybody else is overwhelmed with optimism?
I think it's because I'm the only one under the pressure to keep it up, probably. So I hope I can come into the next race to do it and keep up the consistency and do it again and do it again. So I don't have time to be worried about anything else other than just trying to keep going. So it's a lot of pressure to try to keep going, try to keep up the expectations that everybody has for you. So when we accomplish certain goals, like win a race or win a couple races or make the chase or win a race in the chase or battle for the championship, those kind of things I can get excited about and get happy with, and I'll enjoy those moments. And I'm happy to be consistent. But we still have another step to go. We're running 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th at Texas when we should be running 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And I can understand when one or two cars really hit on something and just outrun the field, but you want to be right behind them. If you're not one of those two, you want to be right there. So just kind of hustling, and we're hustling pretty hard, but just hustling inside the top 10. We need to step it up just another notch. So we're just trying to work on that, focusing on what that is, and get that done as soon as possible, so we can continue our consistency and continue our strong showing in the points up to this point.
All right, we have Lee, Reed, Jay, Claire.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. They just put out a press release from Junior Motorsports about a donation to a middle school in Durham. Can you talk a little bit about that and why that's so important to you?
Well, we're actually running a program. We're running a car. We run a car at Charlotte every all-star race that has my foundation logos on it. And my sponsors, AMP Energy and National Guard, are nice enough to allow me to use the hood on the car. And we were trying to think about what would be interesting and unique to try to do this year. And we were able to pair up with VH1 Save the Music and work with them on a program connected to the foundation. And when we were lucky enough to pair with them, for whatever reason on the car, we needed the quarter panels as well. So we had to go to our sponsors and ask them if we could have that. So they were nice enough again to give us more of the race car for this year. We came up with a pretty good paint scheme. I'm really excited about the way the car looks. And I just read the press release this morning myself for the first time. So I'm not quite tuned up on all the particulars of it. But being a big music fan myself, I'm excited about the partnership with VH1 and hoping that it's an effective one, and looking forward to taking that car to the racetrack and seeing what kind of response we get from the fans.
Ryan Kerrigan going to the Redskins?
I was surprised by the pick, but I didn't really know much about him. But now that they got a couple bookends, defensive ends or outside linebackers, whichever they choose, but I'm excited about anytime the team gets better. They needed a quarterback, but there's not many quarterbacks in the draft this year. I don't know if they wanted to risk first round on the guys that were left.
Reed.
Reed Spencer with Sporting News. Dale, basically there are 3 races left now in which you've got the opportunity to win and qualify for the All-Star race. Probably a pretty good chance that you get in on the fan vote anyway, but is it important for you to try to qualify by winning a race?
No, not really. That weekend, and I don't take it for granted that we'll get the fan vote. Anything can happen. So we're just going to go and enjoy that weekend. That weekend's pretty fun. I'd rather personally make it through the fan vote because of the qualifying procedure's a little bit of a pain in the tail, but from a driver's standpoint anyways, I'm sure that's probably not everybody's opinion, but having to qualify and sit around and wait for everybody else to qualify and run up and down pit road like hooligans is not a lot of fun, but the most important thing is just focusing on the points races, the races that matter toward the championship, and when we get to the All-Star weekend, however things are lined up is how things are lined up, and that's just it's a fun weekend regardless. It'll be interesting being on the other side of the fence, trying to find a way into the race, and going through that experience myself personally, to have appreciation for what that is like versus just showing up and being locked in. So it could be interesting and good for me to have that experience as well.
All right, Jay.
Jay Pennell with front stretch and all left turns. When you come to Richmond, I mean, you've got 3 wins here. A lot of people look at this as a track where you can win. Yet the last 4 races, you've struggled, haven't finished inside the top 20. Why do you think you've had those struggles? And do you think that the momentum that you have built up throughout this year can help you get over that?
Well, I think that I've run good at a lot of racetracks in my career, but if you pick out the 3 or 4 that maybe were my best, I struggled at all 3 or 4 of them in the last couple of years. My last couple of years, I struggled every weekend, and it's not it's not a good reflection, I guess, of how well I can do at this place. And hopefully with the changes that we made seem to be working everywhere else, and I hope that they work this weekend. And I hope that Steve and the guys are on the ball, and the car and me work together well, and I feel comfortable in it. And I'm just anxious right now to get out there today and see how the car is going to drive. I know it's going to be quite different than track conditions than the race will be, but I'm just every time we go to the racetrack every weekend, it's me and Steve going to the track for the first time together, and there's a lot of anticipation to get in the car for that first practice, tons of anticipation. So just looking forward to seeing how the day turns out, and hopefully tomorrow night's a continuation of what we've been able to do so far this year. And for me personally, hopefully there's some improvements on what we've been doing this year too.
Okay, well, Claire, Shannon.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius NASCAR Radio. A lot of people are saying that you're providing better information from inside the race car. Do you feel like you're doing that like you've stepped it up, and that is why you guys are doing better, because he's able to work on your car?
No, I don't think so. I think that there's a lot of different variables, just like there's a lot of different variables on a race car to turn and tune. There's a lot of different variables within a team to make it good, make it work. And the ingredients that we have is the ingredients that make this team up are really why we're doing pretty decent right now. So there's a lot of different things I think that have a lot to do with it. I think.
Shannon
Spake, ESPN. Dale. Hey, Jimmy was just in here, and he said that he couldn't compare it to last year, obviously, because he wasn't in the same shop as you last year. But he said one thing that he's really noticed is that you're very engaged. You sent emails right after the race, kind of talking about the setup. You're really committed. Is this how you have been in past years, or are you approaching this year a little bit differently?
It's always a bit the way I've sort of worked. I think I got better at being plugged in, and I got better at my communication when I first started working with Hendrick, because of how they do things is different than what I've done in the past at DEI. The meetings, the team meetings after the practices, the team meetings during the week prior to the races, and the communication between the driver and the crew chief being more on a daily basis. All those things are opportunities for an idea to pop up, or for you to just be continuously giving the crew chief and the team your information and your thoughts, and vice versa. And we never really did much of that at DEI. We just kind of showed up and went to the track, and if Pops needed to know something, he called me and asked me, or whatever. It's not. We just didn't do those things, which a lot of teams didn't at the time. But at Hendrick, they just do it differently, and so I think I've gotten better at utilizing their approach and utilizing their ideas on what communication is, and that's helped me a lot.
All right, Dale, thank you for coming in here, and best of luck
Sure.
this weekend.